guys, so today I'm going to be doing an astrology tag. Before I get into the tag, I just want to say sorry, I've kind of been missing the last couple weeks. I just took a little break because the holidays were just like getting crazy. But I am back, refreshed, Monday, Wednesday, Friday videos. And I'm also working on something else that's pretty exciting that I will be letting you guys know about very soon. So as far as an astrology tag, I just thought it would be a fun thing to do. I don't know if tags are even a thing anymore, but I've never really seen too many astrology ones rolling around, so I thought it would be fun. And I know I looked on YouTube and I saw there's been like some previous astrology tags because I didn't want to impede on anybody's thing, but they're all like over a year old, like 2, 3, 4 years old, so I thought it was time for a new one. If you want to get involved in this tag, I'm tagging all of you. I'm not tagging anyone specific. So go ahead and make a video if you have a YouTube channel, make a video response. Tag anybody you like on YouTube, YouTube astrologers, whatever, if you want them to do it. Or you can just comment in the comment section below and answer the questions there. And I thought it'd be a good way for us to kind of like get to know each other and talk a little bit, have a discussion going. So yeah, I'm just going to jump right on into it now. I said this a lot in my videos, but I still get a ton of comments on all my videos asking what sign I am, and I am a Capricorn. I do know my rising sign and my moon sign. My rising or ascendant is Sagittarius, and my moon sign is Capricorn. So my favorite quality about Capricorns is just the fact that I feel like they can be kind of like they can suffer from depression sometimes and let things get to them, and I think though at the end of the day, like they're just gonna keep moving forward and, you know, doing what they want to do, and I feel like, you know, they're just gonna keep working for whatever it is that they like in life, and they're just gonna keep like trying, I guess would be the best word for it. As hard as things can get, I feel like Capricorns have this ability to kind of like pick themselves up and dust off their shoulders and kind of move on. Not to say that they don't dwell on things, because they definitely do, but I don't think that they ever let things get to the point of like sabotaging or completely destroying them. So my least favorite quality about being a Capricorn would definitely be how I handle emotions. I think it can be really challenging because Capricorns have a hard time handling emotions. And it's not just the sad emotions, like people crying kind of, you know, like makes me feel like awkward, and I'm just so awkward with handling emotions in general. But there's also like, it's really hard for me to show like excitement. Like I'll get a gift and I'll be like, oh my god, I really love it. And people will be like, do you really like it though? Because you don't seem like you really like it. I'm like, no, I really do. And people are like, I don't know, it doesn't seem like it. And that's definitely, I feel like, a challenge for me, and it's just like, I don't know, I hate being so awkward with emotions. I wish they just would come more naturally to me and not feel like such a foreign thing. I don't remember like the exact day of my life when I decided that I wanted to be into astrology, or it like, you know, came into my life, but I do remember being younger, like a young teen, into my teens, and I had this like old astrology book, and I would bring it around, and me and my friends would look at it. We'd read about ourselves, each other, our families, you know, boys we like, girls we like, whatever. Just a lot of fun, and it definitely like sparked an interest for me, and it was something I just didn't let go of, so, you know, I kind of became obsessed. And I don't know, it's just been something I've always been interested in, I've always loved, but that's probably my oldest memory of it. And just in general, I'm into like, you know, kind of like things that are a little bit offbeat, a little bit different, like, you know, intriguing, mysterious. So it was definitely right up my alley. Yep, I can guess anyone's sign. Just let me see their face and I will know instantly. 100%. I'm totally kidding, like absolutely not. There's many times I have not known people's signs, many, many times. You know, but there's those cool times when you have this feeling, you're like, I bet that person is such and such a sign, and then you find out that they are. That's always really cool. So I feel like that happens most for me with the following 3 signs, Cancer, Libra, and Scorpio. Those signs I feel like I've been able to guess easier, and I don't know, just like certain traits kind of like pop out, and I'm like, ooh, like I bet that person is a Cancer, I bet they're a Libra. And with Scorpio too, I feel like they just have this penetrating stare or gaze, and like that has kind of like clued me in on a couple of occasions. I kind of like didn't know if I wanted to do this question, just because I don't want to offend anybody. I love every sign in the zodiac. Like, I love Aries through Pisces in each of their own ways. But I thought it'd be interesting to throw this question in there for you guys and me and whatever. I think that I'm going to go with like the sign that's the most intriguing to me, and kind of like I feel like I want to just know more. And for me, I feel like it's a sign that's a lot different than my sign, which is probably, you know, part of the reason. And honestly, like, my sign is my favorite sign, Capricorn, obviously. I think that's everybody's thing. But if I have to, like, you know, push myself outside of the box and pick another sign, I think I'd have to go with Pisces, just because they've always been a little bit intriguing and interesting to me, and I just find them a little bit mysterious, and I think that's what it is. But I do love every single sign. I've read birth charts for other people, but I've never really had my birth chart read. The reason why I'm kind of like hesitating is because I did take an astrology class a while back, and the woman who ran it was obviously an astrologer, and we, you know, would look at our birth charts in the class weekly, and obviously, like, she was kind of reading my birth chart, but it was never like a full-fledged, like, sit down, let's go over the entire birth chart kind of reading. There was just like little parts in it that we would pick out and discuss, so that was like very interesting, having another person's opinion of my chart. I still remember her pointing out that my Saturn was like right near my ascendant, and that can mean that you had a difficult birth when you were born, so when I was born, and that was so true, and I remember her telling me that, and I was like, oh my god, that's so crazy, because me and my mother both almost died when I was born. It was such like a, you know, bad situation, but that was very interesting, and again, you know, sparked more interest for me in astrology. For me, I would say so, yeah. I've definitely, like, probably dated most of the signs at some point, or had a crush or a thing or something with, but as far as, like, actually having, like, relationships with and going on more than one date, I would say Geminis, Leos, and Pisces. And my current relationship is a Gemini, which I never ever would have pictured, but hey, you know, that's why I don't say ever close the door to any sign, because you just never know. I definitely remember having like a bunch of crushes on Cancers and, you know, every sign out there, but I think the most frequent are Gemini, Leo, and Pisces. Not really. I mean, my two very best friends are a Sagittarius and a Libra. And I would say that, I mean, I've had friends like in every sign pretty much, for the most part, I feel like. And I have noticed one thing though, I have had like really very similar relationships with Gemini women, like kind of short-lived, intense relationships. And I don't want to go into too much detail because I don't know who watches my videos and who doesn't. But yeah, they were all very similar and didn't like typically end well. So that's kind of like a strange similarity. I threw this one in here because I know a lot of you guys are interested in the romantic aspects of astrology. And I think I talked about this in a video like a couple years back, but I definitely had a weird date with a Scorpio one time. I haven't dated many Scorpios, which would probably surprise people that watch like some of my reasons people suck videos, because people just assume I've dated every sign. I've been burned by every sign in those videos. But yeah, I haven't really dated Scorpios at all, so it was definitely a strange date. That's not to say I haven't had weird dates with other signs or weird relationships with other signs, but that's just one that kind of like comes to mind for like a one-time only date, like, if you know what I mean, like that just one date and then you just didn't go back. I'm gonna have to say my current relationship with my husband, who is a Gemini. We have a child together, so I mean, like I said, I wouldn't have expected it to be like a great relationship, not like with this particular person, but if I had thought, ooh, I'm gonna be with a Gemini and get married to one, never would have guessed that for myself. But yes, life works in mysterious ways. feel like I'm like writing an English paper and I have to like list my sources at the end. But I thought this would be a fun way like for people to kind of share what your favorite books are, your favorite apps, your websites, whatever. I have a couple favorites. I'm going to talk about books first. I've been listing them in my info lately because I feel like a lot of you ask me like what are your favorite astrology books? So I've been putting them in there lately, but I love The Only Astrology Book You'll Ever Need, and I also love, and this is probably my favorite astrology book for like actual information, but it would be Astrology, A Cosmic Science by Isabel Hickey, and it's an older book, but it's very interesting. I also love like the Linda Goodman books, and I have so many astrology books, you guys, like you wouldn't even believe it. And some of them are better than others, but those are the ones that I feel like I have reached for more often than not over the years. And as far as like websites and apps go, I don't really use websites, but I do have a favorite app. I know I mentioned the Zodiac Amino app, and that's a great app, and I've already talked about that, so I'm not going to go into it now. But another app that I always am listing in my info is the Celeste app, and that is just basically like you enter someone's birth chart information, it just comes up with a birth chart for you so you can see, you know, where all their placements are. And I just find that so handy because people will be like, well, I don't feel like my sun sign. And I'm like, well, what time were you born, where, when, and all that stuff. And they tell me, and then I'm like, well, your rising sign is in this. And they're like, oh, really? And they just don't know. And it's like such a good thing to just like have on your phone and just pick up and like pull out any old time. So that is my astrology tag. Please, you know, answer the questions down below, make your own videos, do whatever you want with it, or don't do anything at all, and it'll just be all about me. But anyways, so that is it for today, and also I wanted to do a question and answer, or Q&A for next week's video. So leave me any questions below, or also you can leave them under this Instagram picture. My Instagram is grace_astrology. And just leave those questions below and ask anything you want. Anything personal, anything wacky, anything, I mean, don't get like too crude, but like anything fun, any astrology questions. I would just suggest not to ask like super in-depth personal questions about like your own matters, because I won't be able to answer that in this question and answer video. But yeah, any like general astrology questions you have, go ahead and leave them below or on that Instagram picture. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video. Have a good day or night.